Hello, welcome to the kitchen. I'm Peggy. We have good food, easy food, things that are good for you, and we have a good friend. Holly Gillis is here from the Georgia Egg Commission. And look at all these recipes, including Easter, how to do Easter eggs. And if you have children at home, great fun. Thank you for coming. This is great.
Thanks for having me.
So you're all ready for spring and summer and good weather and all the things that we enjoy.
That's right. And this is one of my favorite times of the year because it just seems that we start seeing more fresh vegetables and fruits available in our local grocery stores. And it's just a time to make some simple things that include some healthy ingredients that we can cook in a hurry and enjoy this time of year.
Don't you know simple is best?
I think so.
Is.
Because if you make it complicated, less people will try it. So if it's simple, I feel like more people might be willing to take a shot at cooking something new and different.
So now we have salads with eggs, how to color Easter eggs.
Yes, Easter is among us, coming up, and the great thing about this brochure is that it gives us some tips on how to naturally decorate eggs.
And decorating eggs, too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something, I have small children, and we've kind of gotten away from using fresh eggs at Easter, at the Easter egg hunts, because of the food safety concerns.
Yeah.
But I do think it's an old tradition that we shouldn't lose, just teaching our children the joys of coloring the Easter egg. So there's some fun tips for that.
Oh, that's
too.
great. So you can have this in addition to all the good recipes.
That's right.
Now, what is all of this?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is an asparagus omelet wrap, and it's just a basic omelet, and I'm going to go ahead and get my pan hot because with an omelet, we have to cook it on high heat. A lot of people think that eggs should always be cooked on low heat, and if you are scrambling an egg, you definitely want it slow and low, is what we say. And a scrambled egg, normally we would put cream or milk in the pan, but with an omelet, we're going to put water because you want to cook it on a high heat, and you want to just let your pan sit there and get hot. And then we're going to put water in it, which is going to create steam, and then steam makes it really light and fluffy. So I'm just going to crack 2 eggs into this bowl. And then I'm going to beat it up. I'll just put my, there's a trash can. And then what we're going to do, cracked that one myself. So it's 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of water. And that is our recipe for an omelet.
So that's the secret to a fluffy omelet,
A fluffy omelet. 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of water, or 1 tablespoon per egg. So if you want to do a 3-egg omelet, it'd be 3 eggs, 3 tablespoons of water. And then to give this a little extra flavor, I've got some instant chicken bouillon. Now this is so not necessary, but it does give it, just if you want to, just
a little sprinkle.
A little sprinkle. You buy this on the spice aisle, and it's just going to give it more of a chickeny flavor. You could put some Dijon mustard in here to give it some flavor, anything like that. But the main thing is to make sure that you have the water. Now to test your pan, to make sure that it's super hot, you want it to put a few drops of water. And if it runs around the pan like if you were to broken a thermometer with mercury,
it's starting to bubble.
It's starting to bubble, and that means it's getting ready, but it's not quite hot enough yet. And so what we want to do is just make sure that our eggs are really fluffy, and then you can see that's going. But what we want to do is use margarine, and the minute the egg hits the pan, you want it to immediately start cooking. So if you're making a regular omelet where you're going to put fillings in it, you want to make sure that you have all your fillings ready to go because this goes really quick.
Now it's ready now.
And now it's ready. And I'm going to put a little bit of margarine. And I always put margarine instead of butter because if you're going to cook your egg at a really high heat, butter has a higher smoking point and will start to burn quicker than margarine. So I'm just going to get these eggs in there, and you can hear it sizzle, and that's that water starting to make bubbles. And then what we do is we just dig a hole and fill it. And basically what that does, you push the uncooked portion to the center, tilt your pan, and let the raw portion hit the hot surface. And you just go around, I always say like you're going around the clock, like 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And then we just keep going around. And this is something great to do for a quick lunch, for an easy Sunday night dinner. We love to have breakfast for dinner on a Sunday night, just because by Sunday, everything that I bought on Monday at the grocery store is gone. Yeah. But I always have eggs left and then leftovers. So it's a great thing to put your leftovers in. And I'm just going to let this sit and let it cook a minute. And what you want to do is that if you're going to fill the omelet, you would fill it down the left-hand side in a straight line, flip
And
it
then
over.
flip it over.
And then that would allow everything to cook that's in there and your cheese to melt or whatever. While that's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. And I've got a little bit of cream cheese, and I've got a tomato basil wrap.
I bet that's
so I'm
good.
going to take some cream cheese.
It's a little different.
Sun-dried tomato
Yeah.
wrap, yes. And then I'm going to spread that on here. Instead of using like American cheese, we're just going to do cream cheese because I think cream cheese and asparagus go well together. I'm just going to spread that on. You want to make sure it's kind of soft. And you could use that whipped cream cheese that they have in the grocery store now. And I'm just going to spread that along all the edges of my wrap. And then I'm going to just put some ham on here. You could use whatever meat you wanted. If you wanted turkey, you could use turkey. Whatever you might have. If you have some chicken, you could use chicken. And I'm just going to layer, this is just some deli ham that's sliced.
Or if you have leftover ham, it's a great way to use it.
Yes, if you have leftover ham. And then what I'm going to do is just take this omelet.
Well, that is hot.
And it's hot. And let's see if I can get it out of the pan. Yeah. And then I'm going, it's an open-faced omelet, so I'm just going to slide it out onto the wrap.
Perfect.
Like that. And then what I've got is some marinated asparagus. And these are some marinated asparagus spears. And you can
Let's
find
just
these.
show people.
Yeah.
that life, you can make life easy.
That's right.
And this is marinated green asparagus in a little jar, which you probably can find in any supermarket.
Yes, and it's in the canned food section.
Yeah.
And,
And
it's really good. And I like to chop it up
Now
and
you
use
have
it
to
on
keep it
salads.
refrigerated.
Yes, after you open it.
After you
keep
open it.
refrigerated.
And she just put it in
And
there.
I'm just layering it in here, and I'm going to roll this up.
That's kind of a fancy lunch.
It is.
It is.
It's a great little lunch or a nice little dinner. And then I'm going to take my knife and just kind of cut it open so you could serve it.
Oh,
and,
that looks
and if you
wonderful.
had a little side salad.
Look how pretty that is.
We've got some strawberries here we'll put on here. And this makes a great healthy, light lunch or fun dinner. And then you're eating a vegetable, you've got your cheese, you've got your ham and your eggs.
Everything good for you. You have protein.
Right. Lots of protein with the ham and the eggs, and then you've got your wrap just to make it easy to take. And literally, you see how quickly we made that. And it's a little, something a little fancier than your basic omelet.
It's beautiful.
It's really good.
Should I put it down here?
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Okay.
It's really good. And that's one of those, I think, that's fun. Like if you're having guests over and you just want to make something quick and easy, it's a little different than your
And the asparagus, you don't have to
run-of-the-mill.
even worry about it. Just take it out of the jar and put a little bit in there.
And that asparagus is great. Chop it up, put it on a salad, have it as a side with like grilled chicken or even hamburgers. And it's got a great flavor and it's light and crunchy.
Okay.
So it's
I
a new
like
find
that.
in the grocery store. The next thing I would do is a turkey bacon artichoke dip. And this is why Jewel was looking at artichokes and coming up with something different. And what we thought we
Jewel
would do,
is our friend who does all these recipes.
She does. She is
How she
our-
comes up with them, I don't know. But she's
I know,
a
and she always laughs.
genius.
She's like, after almost 20 years of cooking eggs, it's hard to, she's still coming up with new and different things, which constantly amazes me. But what I'm going to do is start off with a block of cream cheese, and you want to kind of make
Now,
sure
all right,
it's
what size?
softened.
That's the big one?
That's the 8-ounce
8
block
ounce,
of
okay,
cream cheese.
okay.
And you want to kind of get that softened. And to that, I'm going to add some blue cheese and about 3 ounces of blue cheese. And then we're going to put in here, I'm going to try to get a fork to smash some of this up. And then what we're going to do is add, and this is just kind of like a dip. And I'm going to hold this bowl because you really want your cream cheese to be softened. You could probably even buy that whipped cream cheese and use that as well. But I'm just going to kind of mix this in here. And then we're going to add some red peppers that I've chopped, just a few red peppers to give it some crunch and color, and some celery that I chopped. You want everything chopped about the same size. And I've got some tomatoes, and this is just one medium tomato that's chopped, and you take the seeds out because you don't want this to be wet. So this is just like a thick dip, and a few red onions just to give it a little bit of a punch. And then I've got 3 egg whites, and that's going to give you your protein in there. And I'm just going to chop that up. And then her favorite thing, she loves turkey bacon. And so this is going to give it some nice smoky flavor. And
But you could, if you didn't want that, you could leave it out, couldn't you?
Right. You could use regular bacon or you could just leave it out. And so I'm just going to kind of mold this all together. And it's going to make this kind of a thick, cream cheese type dip. And then
it's colorful.
It's so colorful. It's so colorful. And you know what I might do is add a little bit of, you could add some mayonnaise to this or sour cream if you wanted to thin it out a little bit. But this just kind of makes a thick paste. And then what I'm going to do is put it in a little bowl and serve it with some Triscuits, or you can serve it with wheat thins. I've got some carrot slices. And this makes just a healthier type version of a dip.
So the only thing that really makes that hard at all is the chopping.
It's the chopping, right.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. And you know, gosh, today in the grocery store, they have everything almost already chopped up for you. And then you can just bring this together in almost like a cheese ball type form and put it in a bowl.
That is pretty.
And it's got lots of great color. And I think it's very, very tasty. And I'm just going to put it in my little serving dish here.
Now, could you make that, if you're really busy and we're going to have some company coming or something, could you make it ahead of time?
Yes, absolutely.
And put it in the refrigerator?
Absolutely. You can make it, I would only make it like a day ahead of time and put it in the refrigerator, and then you might just want to pull it out, 30 minutes before your company comes, just so the cream cheese can get soft again. And then you have this pretty colorful dip, and then we're going to top it with a little bit of dill. And another thing we did was I'm going to put some artichoke hearts because it's artichoke dip. And what I did is I cooked the bacon in the pan. And then, turkey bacon doesn't make a lot of fat. So you take your artichoke hearts they're marinated artichoke hearts in the jar too. And I sear them in the pan in the turkey fat. So you can see it's got a little bit of color on them.
Yeah.
And then I chop them up and put them in the dip as well. So it really gives it this nice tangy,
Holly, that's elegant.
tangy flavor. And then I like to just top it off with a sprig of dill or two. And then you've got this, if you're having a little party and need something different, it's got lots of nice flavors. And then you serve it with
and you can serve it with crackers or whatever.
Or carrots or
whatever you happen to want.
Yeah.
And we are going to go to a break, but let me just offer these, because these are terrific recipes, including ideas for salads and for the kids. So if you want these recipes, including the tips on decorating eggs, they're all here, and we're delighted to share. We need from you a self-addressed stamped envelope, and try not to send us a little bitty envelope. We have a lot to get in there. And it's recipe number 776. 776, that's an easy one. And just send it to the Peggy Denny Show, Post Office Box 1616, Greenville, South Carolina, 29602. And we'll have it on its way to you. And of course, we also have some information about Holly and the Egg Commission, which when we come back, maybe our director will put up on the screen. We'll be right back, and you have something else to share.
I have a nice Easter salad.
Okay, don't go away. Our special guest today is Holly Gillis from the Georgia Egg Commission. And I tell you, with the price of food, a dozen eggs is still a good buy in anybody's grocery store.
It really is. I mean, when you think about the nutrition and the quality
and
of
the things you can do with them.
And the variety of ways that you can prepare them. You can never go wrong with a dozen eggs in your refrigerator, that's for sure. And they're so inexpensive. But this next thing I have is a green noodle salad. And this is something that's on one of our Easter brochures.
Eggs for the springtime, and here it is, green noodle salad. What have you done?
And what I've done is this is some spinach fettuccine noodles, and I've just cooked them per the box directions. And then to keep them kind of moist, I'm going to add a little bit of light or fat-free Italian dressing, and that just kind of breaks them up to make sure they don't stick together and give them a little bit of flavor. And then to that, I'm just going to start. You could add, this is one of those pasta salads that you could put whatever you want in that
so
your
you cook the noodles according to package directions and drain them.
And drain them.
And then you put them all in this bowl and you added a little Italian dressing.
And you can do that while it's warm, and the noodles will kind of soak up that flavor.
Actually, about 1/4 of a cup.
1/4 of a cup. That's right.
All right.
And then I've got some some red pepper that I've chopped. Just going to add that in there. And this is one of those things you can add whatever you've got, whatever you like. This is some spring onions that are chopped. I'm going to add some of those to give it a little punch of flavor. And then I've got 4 hard-cooked eggs that I have chopped. So this is a great salad if you know, have Easter and you have lots of hard-cooked eggs left over. You know, always throw them on top of a salad, in a salad. You know, they go great with so many different things, and they add that nice flavor and nutrition. And see, it kind of looks like a garden in this little bowl. And then I'm going to put some
those little cherry tomatoes.
Cherry or grape tomatoes.
And you've already, you cut them in half.
I cut them in half. You can core them if you want, but I think they look pretty when they're in half and just kind of chopped in half. And I'm just going to mix that together. And then I've got some black olives I'm going to put in there. And so you see what nice, beautiful color this has. And then the thing about a hard-cooked egg, if you leave the yolk with the hard-cooked egg, if it gets on something that's kind of wet like this, it'll even become a creamy kind of sauce for the whatever you put it in. So the egg yolk will just kind of break up and become a creamy mixture. But you can see how pretty that is. And then to that, I'm going to make a little sauce that I've got some mayonnaise. And I always use light mayonnaise when I'm doing something like this. So a little bit of light mayonnaise and some low-fat sour cream or fat-free sour cream.
What about a tablespoon of each or so?
Yeah, or 1/4 a cup.
A generous tablespoon would be.
Well, that's a 1/4 of a cup.
Okay.
And then I've got a 1/2 of a cup of salsa, any kind of salsa that you want. I always try to get like the chunky salsa, I just like that. And I'd use mild. Because, you know, you don't know who might be sensitive to heat. And then just mix this up. And this is going to be kind of our dressing that goes on top of the salad. And you don't even have to add this. I think it looks good like that.
I was going to say, it almost looks without anything, it's all right.
It looks nice, like a little Italian dressing on top, and it would be yummy. But I'm going to put a little bit of this in there, and you can put a little or, you know, just judge yourself.
You know, if you are doing hamburgers on the grill or fish, this would be a wonderful complement. It's all you need.
Yes, it really would be, because it's just got lots of great flavors. I'm just going to add that in there, and you can add as much, like I said, or as little as you want. Just gives it like a creamy little sauce. And then what I'm going to do is top it off to give it some crunch. I've got some sunflower seeds, and I'm going to put that in there, and that's going to top it off and give it that extra little punch at the end.
Now this would serve how many people? This is quite generous.
This is a big portion, and like you said, if you had, you know, we're feeding a family of 5, 6, and you were grilling out on the grill, this would be perfect. And you could even probably add some, you know, if you had some grilled chicken and put it on top, it would be a main dish.
Be a whole meal.
And then to give it some extra crunch and flavor, I'm going to top it with some sunflower seeds. And then this makes a great just side pasta dish that's got some fun flavors in it, and it's got some fresh vegetables. So as spring comes around and we start
thinking about... So that's all, you don't mix the seeds, you put them on top?
I don't mix the seeds, I just like to put them on top, and then once you serve it, you know, everybody gets some of the seeds. But it gives it that little salty crunch that I think adds that extra dimension to it.
How many, I'm trying to think back, how many eggs did you put in there?
I put in, there were 4 hard-cooked eggs.
Okay.
So you could do more, you could do less.
But see, there you get your protein.
Yes, you've got your protein, and then you've got the spinach pasta, which is a little healthier. If you don't like the spinach, I would go with a whole wheat pasta, because you just want this to be a healthier
But I think that adds a nice color to it, the green.
And it kind of makes it look like that. I always think about it when you're doing a spring salad, it kind of looks like the grass growing, and then you got the tomatoes.
And the olives and everything. It's beautiful.
Thank you. I think
it really is.
It's a fun salad to do, and, you know, a little salt and pepper, and serve it as a side dish. Or like I said, add some chicken or something to the top, and you've got a great main dish.
This would go with almost anything that you're cooking. Chicken, fish, hamburger, and we're coming to that time when people are going to be outdoors, hopefully, and they'll be using things on the grill.
Great to bring to a picnic.
Or a church supper.
That's
you've got that something, and of course that dip, I cheated I had to taste it. It's out of this world.
Well, good.
I think it's the best dip you've ever done here.
Oh, wow, thank you.
And years and years we go back.
That's right.
Yeah. So look, let me take a minute and offer these, and they are free. And we're, thanks to the Georgia Egg Commission, and we want you to share. And this is good health, and they're fun, and they're easy. And you just have to send a self-addressed stamped envelope. Oh, that helps us so much. And send it to the Peggy Denny Show, Post Office Box 1616, Greenville, South Carolina, 29602. And we need the number. Believe it or not, we have hundreds of recipes. And if we don't have a number, we open up that envelope, we don't know what you wanted. So it's number 776, 776. And we'll be happy to share these with you. These are good any time of the year. And everything is exact, even with the content of what's in it, so that you know what you're eating. And then these are fun spring tips for salads and eggs and even decorating. So it's all there. And you could click on peggydenny.com, and hopefully we try to keep that up to date, but we have them here, and we're so happy to share them with you, because this is good health. It really is.
And we need that now. You know, I look at my children and with the obesity epidemic that we have, and it's just so important to feed our kids healthy, wholesome food that will give them the energy and, you know, to just be healthy and to be able to play and go to school, and just for ourselves too. Because if you don't have your health, you know,
you don't have anything.
You don't have
anything. And also, this is the time now when people are thinking in terms, more and more people are planting their own gardens. With the cost of food going up all the time, it's very nice to be able to go out and you have your own food right there. And a lot of people think, well, I couldn't do that because I don't have any room, I don't have any land. You can have a garden on your patio. You can have with containers.
Container gardens are
and
very
the experts
popular.
all tell you how you can do that. So this is the time. And now I want to mention our little cookbook.
Yeah, this is our cookbook we've had for a couple of years now, and it's the favorite egg recipes.
And it is not a new book, but this book is a joy.
Well, it is. It's one of those, if you like eggs and you know, it has 150 recipes in it. So it tells you, you know, 150 different things that you could do with an egg. And so they're very creative recipes. They're all original. And it's just one of those books that's good to have around in the kitchen when you're needing to know basic tips about eggs. It's got food safety tips and just a good cookbook to have.
Now, I don't like to talk about money, but I think we did. It isn't expensive, is it?
No, it's $15 plus $5 for shipping and handling.
So $20. Make a great Mother's Day gift, a great gift for a bride to be, because these are sensible recipes.
That's right, they are.
When you get too exotic, it frightens people away, myself included. Most people are too busy.
When you're dealing with something as simple as an egg, you know, the recipes tend to be pretty easy, so it makes it easy. And on this, I wanted to mention there are some decorating tips for Easter, and there's some fun things to do, like taking a crayon and coloring on the egg, and then once you dip it in the color, you can write your name on it. And then there's some things, it talks about how you could use nail polish, even how you can
that's safe?
It's safe, yes. And even how you can do things like apple juice, grape juice, cranberry juice to make your natural food coloring versus using the kits with all the different colors. Yeah. You can take the fruit juices, like your dark natural fruit juices, and soak the eggs in that, and it makes beautiful colored eggs.
So you soak the eggs in some cranberry juice?
With a little bit of vinegar to let the color set. And they would be this beautiful raspberry color.
Now you do that after you have
boiled
cooked the eggs.
Yes, you could do it in tea to make a brown egg.
So you let the eggs cool, and then you put them into the juice, whatever color you want.
Right.
And so that's a tip, and that is a real safety tip. You're not putting chemicals in.
Just if you want to go all natural, this little brochure gives you lots of hints on how to do natural food coloring with your Easter eggs.
And the decorating ideas are great.
And it tells you how to hard cook the perfect egg. If you're always thinking, oh, my eggs are a little overdone, a little underdone, it gives you directions on how to do that. And then on the back, it talks about food safety with Easter egg huntings and with your Easter eggs.
And if you have children at home, get them involved, because this is a learning experience, and it's fun. And those are the things they remember when they grow up, what you did.
It is, and that's just, it's something fun and wholesome that you can do by spending time with your children, and they will remember it. So it's great. I think anytime you can get your kids in the kitchen, it's a bonus.
I love that, a bonus. We need some bonuses in this world.
That's right.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Right. Holly, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And come back soon.
I sure will.
So the weather's great. It's time to get out and enjoy all these things. Stay happy, eat well. We'll see you next time.